Alright, what's going on everyone? Today we're going to take a look at another World Championship winning deck in Magic the Gathering's history, and this time it is Temur Energy, the deck that won the championship in 2017. Standard at the time was composed of the Kaladesh block, the Amonkhet block, and Ixalan. The tournament would take place in Boston, Massachusetts, and the deck would be piloted by William Jensen. So if you're not familiar with the energy mechanic, it's basically a separate resource from mana. Some cards give you energy and some allow you to spend it for certain effects. In this deck's case, it was Long Tusk Cub, Whirler Virtuoso, and Bristling Hydra. All of these can generate energy and spend it. The Cub generates 2 when it hits the opponent, and then it can spend 2 energy to get a +1/+1 counter. The Virtuoso produces 3 when it enters the battlefield, and then can convert energy into Thopter tokens. And then Bristling Hydra gives you 3 energy counters when it enters the battlefield, and can also convert those into +1/+1 counters. Plus it gets hexproof when you activate it, which makes it tough to kill because you can do that at instant speed. If your opponent tries to target it with a removal spell, you can activate it in response and not only get a +1/+1 counter but also give it hexproof. The thing to keep in mind is that you are creating a pool of energy that can be used for any of these cards. So if you have the Virtuoso in play and you cast Bristling Hydra, you can use that 3 energy to create a token instead of putting a counter on the Hydra. The same thing goes for that constant source of energy from Long Tusk Cub. It's just an extra resource and you can spend it in a variety of ways. So there's a lot of versatility in just building up energy and then having a lot of ways to use it at any given time at instant speed. And then there are passive ways to generate energy with cards like Attune with Ether and Rogue Refiner. Both of these are just plain good cards that just so happen to give you more energy for more value. Attune with Ether allows you to color fix by searching your library for a basic land and put it into your hand, which is pretty important in a 3-color deck, and then you also get 2 energy. The Rogue Refiner is a 3 mana 3/2, which is alright, but when you cast it you get to draw a card, and also you get 2 energy. So there's a ton of value on this thing, and unsurprisingly, both of these cards actually got banned after the World Championship. It was the fact that they're already just really good cards, like a 3 mana 3/2 that draws a card is already pretty good, but then the fact that you also got energy, which could then be converted into tokens and +1/+1 counters and whatnot, just turned out to be really good. I mean, you can turn 1 Attune with Ether, fix your mana, then turn 2 Long Tusk Cub and have 2 energy counters sitting there to turn it into a 3/3. And then if you follow that up with a turn 3 Rogue Refiner, you get 2 more energy, you draw a card, and then the Long Tusk Cub is attacking as a 4/4 on turn 3. And if it lands the hit, you get 2 more energy, turning the Cub into a potential 5/5. So you can see it's pretty powerful. And if that isn't enough energy for you, it also had more energy producers in the form of Servant of the Conduit and Harnessed Lightning. The Servant gives you 2 energy and then can convert energy into mana of any color. So once again, we have more energy for more value, and we also have more color fixing in a 3-color deck. Plus it acts as ramp to get into like a turn 3 Bristling Hydra, for example. So it's pretty good. And Harnessed Lightning is a burn spell that can kill creatures. It gives you 3 energy, and then you can spend any amount of energy to deal X damage based on the amount of energy you spend. The cool thing is, if you spend less than 3 energy, then it's a cheap removal spell that just gives you extra energy. But you could also dip into your energy reserves to kill off a big creature in a pinch, so it's pretty useful. So you can see how this deck can just snowball out of control. It could generate a ton of value with a ton of energy, and then it could spend that energy in very versatile ways. The deck could put out damage quickly like an aggro deck, it could create big creatures like a stompy deck, and it could generate value like a mid-range deck, and we haven't even looked at the control package yet. Yep, that's right, it was aggro, it was stompy, it was mid-rangey, and also, hey, guess what? It actually has some control going on. So first off, it has Confiscation Coup, which generates 4 energy and then allows you to spend it to steal an artifact or a creature permanently. Much like Harnessed Lightning, if you spend less than 4 energy, then you ultimately end up with more of it, but you can also spend extra to nab a big threat if necessary. The deck also played Magma Spray and a Braid for board control. The spray deals 2 damage for 1, and the creature it kills gets exiled, and a Braid deals 3 damage for 2, and it can also destroy artifacts, which was important because Kaladesh was an artifact block. The deck also had counter spells like Essence Scatter and Commit to Memory. Essence Scatter counters creatures, and Commit can nab a spell out of thin air and tuck it into the opponent's library, and it can also do the same for non-land permanents. It can bounce non-land permanents on the battlefield into the opponent's library, and then in the graveyard it can be cast to refill both players' hands if necessary. You can see the deck has an emphasis on countering and killing creatures. This deck ultimately won by stomping out the opponent or going wide with Thopters with Whirler Virtuoso, so controlling the battlefield was very important. And also, it just wasn't fair, because it was already going fast, going big, and generating value, but also, it just has lots of great control magic as well. So this deck basically got to do it all, which is why a couple of pieces in it were banned. And then the final card in the deck is Glorybringer. It's a 5 mana 4/4 flyer with haste that can be exerted, and if you do that, it blasts a creature for 4 damage. This is an excellent finisher and could usually cause massive swings in momentum. A player could look like they were falling behind, but suddenly a Glorybringer swoops in, starts beating for 4 damage in the air, and just absolutely wreaking havoc on the opponent's side of the battlefield, and suddenly the Temur Energy player is just dominating the game. That's basically what Glorybringer did, and it didn't just do it in this deck, it also did it in a couple others as well. So Glorybringer, pretty good. It was just a massive momentum swinger, a pretty big flying threat that just started blowing stuff up pretty good. And that's the deck. Taking a quick look at the mana base, it played Ether Hub, which is another source of energy and another way to color fix, as it can filter energy to produce mana of any color. It also played Rootbound Crag, Botanical Sanctum, and Spire Bluff Canal for dual lands, and then it played a pile of basics. And we always gotta stop for a second and appreciate full art basics, and also complain just a little bit that they aren't just in every standard set ever, because they just look so nice. Right, anyway, taking a super quick look at the sideboard. As always, we won't go too in depth here, as that requires an understanding of the entire metagame, but it played extra copies of Upbraid and Confiscation Coup. It also plays Negate and Supreme Will for more control, and Supreme Will can also allow you to go digging if necessary. Speaking of digging, it also plays Glimmer of Genius as well as Appetite for the Unnatural. Glimmer lets you scry 2, draw 2, as well as get 2 energy, and Appetite lets you blow up an artifact and gain 2 life. It also played a suite of alternate finishers in the form of Ether Sphere Harvester, Torrential Gearhulk, and Chandra Torch of Defiance. The Harvester can combat aggro decks by either playing on defense or dealing damage with lifelink. The Gearhulk is a massive threat that lets you recast something from the graveyard, and Chandra can pretty much just win the game by herself, as well as just help control the board if necessary. And it also had a single copy of Chandra's Defeat, which was really good against red decks and opposing Chandras, because like I said, she can win the game by herself. And that's the deck. That is Temur Energy. It kind of did everything, and it kind of did it better than most other decks in the format. This deck, along with Mardu vehicles, were so powerful that it required multiple bans in what might have been one of the most broken formats in recent history. So there you go, that's Temur Energy. Now you are a little bit more familiar with Magic the Gathering's history and another classic deck from years past. If you like this video and want to see more like it, I have an entire playlist dedicated to these World Championship deck techs, and you can find a link to it in the description below. The decks go all the way back to 1994, so if you want to see some old school World Championship decks, then definitely check that playlist out. But in the meantime, thanks for watching everyone, and I will see you in the next one.